In the history of warfare, weapons have ranged from simple clubs to devastating atomic bombs. But what if I told you the most fearsome weapon in one ancient battle was nothing more than sunlight? The year is 212 BC, the mighty Roman Republic, hungry for conquest, lays siege to the wealthy Greek city-state of Syracuse on the island of Sicily. The Roman fleet, a formidable armada under the command of General Marcellus, expects a swift victory. They have ships, soldiers, and siege engines. But Syracuse has something they don't: a mind of singular, terrifying genius. His name is Archimedes. History remembers Archimedes for his eureka moment in the bathtub, but to the Romans besieging his home, he was a figure of sheer terror. From the city walls, his inventions wreaked havoc. Giant claws that could lift warships out of the water and smash them against the rocks. Immense catapults that hurled boulders with terrifying accuracy. The Roman soldiers were so spooked that if they saw so much as a piece of rope or a beam of wood appear over the walls, they would turn and flee, crying that Archimedes was about to unleash another one of his machines upon them. General Marcellus, despite his frustration, could only joke grimly that he was fighting a geometrical Briareus, a mythical hundred-handed giant. But the most legendary tale of all, the one that has echoed through millennia, involves a weapon of pure light. As the Roman ships maneuvered into position, confident in their numbers, a bright flash erupted from the walls of Syracuse. Then another and another. On the shore, Archimedes stood, directing soldiers who held large, polished bronze shields, acting as mirrors. They caught the intense Sicilian sun and focused its rays into a single, concentrated beam of energy, a death ray of antiquity. Imagine the scene. A Roman sailor, feeling the heat on his face, looks up to see a blinding light. Seconds later, the wooden hull of his ship begins to smoke. The tarcock seams start to bubble. Within minutes, small licks of flame appear, quickly growing into an uncontrollable inferno. Panic spreads through the fleet as ship after ship catches fire, not from flaming arrows or catapulted pots of oil, but from the sun itself. The Romans were being incinerated by an invisible force they couldn't fight. Their mighty navy was being destroyed by science. This story, the heat ray or death ray of Archimedes, has been a subject of intense debate for centuries. Did it really happen? Ancient historians like Plutarch and Cassius Dio wrote about it, but centuries after the event, they described how Archimedes used burning glasses to set the ships ablaze. For a long time, many modern scholars dismissed it as pure legend, a fantastic story to embellish the genius of Archimedes. How could mirrors from 200 BC possibly generate enough heat to ignite a warship from a distance? Driven by curiosity, scientists and engineers have tried to replicate the feat. In 1747, the French naturalist Georges Louis Leclerc, Comte de Buffon, used 168 small flat mirrors to successfully ignite a wooden plank 150 feet away. His experiment showed it was theoretically possible. More recently, in 2005, a team at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, MIT, took up the challenge. Using 127 one-foot square mirrors, they focused sunlight onto a mock-up of a Roman ship from 100 feet away. After about 10 minutes under clear skies, the wood began to smoke and eventually caught fire. They concluded that while difficult and highly dependent on weather and distance, the feat was not impossible. However, the MIT team also noted the practical difficulties. The Roman ships would have been moving targets. It would take time for the focused sunlight to ignite the wood, during which the ship could have moved or clouds could have blocked the sun. The crew could have easily doused a small fire before it spread. Because of this, many historians now believe that if Archimedes did use mirrors, it was more likely for a different purpose. Perhaps the intense, blinding glare was used to disorient and dazzle the Roman archers and sailors, disrupting their ability to attack the city walls effectively. A weapon of psychological warfare, not a literal death ray. The confusion and panic caused by the blinding light could have been just as effective as setting the ships on fire. Regardless of whether the death ray was real or a brilliant piece of psychological warfare, Archimedes' defense of Syracuse was legendary. For 2 years, his inventions held the entire Roman army at bay. He single-handedly turned the siege into a masterclass of engineering and physics. The Romans were so stymied by his intellect that they had to abandon their direct assault and settle for a long, drawn-out blockade. Ultimately, Syracuse did not fall to the might of the Roman legions in open battle. It fell to betrayal. A pro-Roman faction within the city opened the gates during a nighttime festival, allowing the soldiers to pour in. What happened next is a tragedy for science and humanity. General Marcellus, who had a deep respect for Archimedes' genius, gave a specific order that the great inventor's life was to be spared. He wanted to meet the man who had caused him so much trouble. But in the chaos of the city's sacking, a Roman soldier stumbled upon an old man drawing geometric figures in the sand. The soldier, ignorant of who he was, ordered him to come along. Archimedes, engrossed in his work, reportedly waved him away, saying, "Do not disturb my circles." Enraged by the defiance, the soldier drew his sword and killed him on the spot. The death of Archimedes marked the end of an era. The general who had hoped to capture the world's greatest mind was left only with his corpse. The loss was immeasurable. We can only wonder what other marvels Archimedes might have conceived had he lived. His story serves as a powerful reminder. The greatest weapon is not the sword, the ship, or even a ray of focused sunlight. It is the human mind. Yet, it also carries a somber warning that even the brightest of minds can be extinguished in an instant by the darkness of ignorance and violence. The light of Syracuse was put out, not by a rival army, but by a single, unthinking blade. Thank you for watching. If you found this piece of history as fascinating as I do, please like this video and subscribe for more stories from the past.